Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Robbie Basel Show. You know who I am. I'm Robbie Basel, and today, to start the episode, I'm going to just give you guys a couple of announcements because I do have a couple things today. First off, Into the Stands. I just received word that Into the Stands will most likely not occur this week. We recently, if you don't know, in New York, we had that big rainstorm and it got into a lot of the buildings here at Iona University. So the ground floor of the building that the radio station's in had like multiple inches of rain, and they're still trying to remove it all. So WIUR is closed indefinitely. So Into the Stands most likely will not happen this week. I might try to get the guys on for an episode on Friday. I'll still ask them about it. Make sure to follow at Into the Stands for all updates with Into the Stands and what's going to be going on there. Like I said, I don't know what's going to be happening. There's a lot of unknowns with the situation, and that's all I'm going to be commenting on that for now. But like I said, make sure to follow at Into the Stands for more information. Additionally, it's not really an announcement, it's just a thank you. Thank you guys for supporting this show through 40 episodes. Today is episode 40. When I started this thing back in May, I didn't expect myself to be doing 2 episodes a week. But on the other hand, I'm happy that I've gotten through 40 episodes already. I'll try and maybe get some guests on for episode 50, but there's a long way to go with this show. A lot of things I've planned, and a lot more to come with this show. And I'd like to thank everyone for the support on this show, the viewers, to people giving me recommendations for topics, to people having me personally on other people's shows. The support that I get, it's insane. It's even though the subscriber count and the viewer count may not be as high as I wish to be. Hopefully, I get that. If I find ways to get that more up in the future, maybe more engaging content. I don't know. I'm open to all recommendations. I'm open to all suggestions, anything like that. I'm a very open person, so I'm open to any suggestions or topics that you guys want me to talk about more, or maybe even less. One other note, and I'd like to just point this out now. Something I filmed got on Sports Center this morning. So yeah, it was from Iona Soccer. I forgot his name. It's our graduate forward. Did some overhead kick. It was absolutely outrageous. But what sucked was it wasn't fully in frame. And yeah, that's all I'm going to talk about it. Because, it was so perfect if the full thing was in frame. Can't do everything perfect. It was also my first time doing one of those, one camera games. So I was trying to, zoom it. I don't know. No excuses. I will be better next time. I apologize that the clips suck. But it's time to dive into what this show is really about, and that's live sports from around the country and possibly around the world. Today's topics for episode number 40 are going to be my MLB playoff predictions, since they kick off tomorrow. I'm also going to break down a little bit of the Premier League, give a quick statement on what I thought of some of the officiating this week, and give a quick recap of the NFL games, because you're not going to be able to hear it on Thursday anymore, most likely. So I think it's going to be only right that I go into all that stuff. But we're going to begin with the MLB playoffs, because I feel like that's the first thing that we should start with. So, of course, my bracket, I'm going to try my best to have my bracket posted on the Robbie Basel Show Instagram, so make sure to follow at the Robbie Basel Show. The handle will be in the description of this video, along with Into the Stands' handle will be in the description of this video. So, the seeding. Let's start with the American League. We have the American League wildcard series, which are a best of 3. We have the Orioles, top dogs, with 101 wins. I never thought for a while that Baltimore and 100 wins could go together. Never saw it. Yet here we are. They will play the winners of Tampa Bay and Texas. I love this series. I'll talk about them in a second. Then we have the Twins and the Blue Jays. There's a lot of narratives about these series. The Twins never win playoff games. Toronto choked it last year. It's the battle of the chokers. This is the second matchup. But the first matchup is really going to catch more attention for sure, because you have Tampa Bay, who's dealt with a lot of injuries, but have to be able to overcome some of those injuries. Players emerging like Diaz, you had Wander Franco, and now he's in that situation he's in. You have Randy Arozarena. You have Jose Siri. You have some other players that have really started to emerge for Tampa Bay. Of course, you have Glass down the rotation. You lost McClanahan. You lost some of these other pieces. If the Rays were fully healthy, I think they could have made a run for the division, even possibly overcoming the Baltimore Orioles. But who do I think wins this series? Now, we'll start with Tampa Bay, Texas. And it's like a revenge. I believe Nathan Eovaldi played for the Rays at some point. So this will be fun. But the Rangers have such a great roster. And I think with the Rays' injuries, they're going to beat Tampa Bay. This is going to go 3 games, but I'm going with the Texas Rangers over the Tampa Bay Rays. Listen, Texas almost won the American League West. I mean, this could have gone to them. They overcame the Mariners late on. The Mariners kind of choked it, which sucked because I wanted the Mariners to make it again. They're a decent team. This is my word of advice. If you play a bad first half, it's very unlikely that you're going to make the playoffs. Their perfect example is the Tampa Bay not the Tampa Bay Rays, is the Seattle Mariners, who had a poor first half and really overcame a lot of things to make a run at the playoffs, or just be short of the playoffs. Other series, Twins, Toronto. Now, I don't like the series at all. I mean, you have Toronto, who barely made it. People thought they could have been a major contender this year, but I think they're still possibly pieces away. Pitching-wise, there's some downsides on the offense, like Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette. There's some players there. They have talent. It just feels like they can never put it together. They're playing a Twins team that won the worst division in baseball. It's... Apologies for that. I still have a little bit of that cold from last time. Who do I think wins this series? It's a tough one. But I'm going Toronto. This is their revenge from last year. The Twins is not going to be a sweep. Both of these series will go 3 games. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of energy, but I do think Toronto beats the Twins in 3 games. I think the Twins have some talent led by Correa. They have some talents on the offense. But I just don't. I mean, they have Pablo Lopez in the rotation. I'm just trying to remember some of the other players. Sonny Gray. But I think the lack of offense from Minnesota is going to hurt them. It's going to be a lot of high-scoring games, though. I think so. Now, we'll just go through the wild cards, then the next round and the next round. In the National League, the Braves are the top dogs with 104 wins, which is scary for me long term. The Phillies play the Marlins, and the Brewers play the D-backs. I'm just going to get this one out of the way. The Phillies are beating the Marlins. This is a sweep automatic. And the reason I'm jumping on this boat right away is because the Marlins are without Sandy Alcantara. He had a bad season. There are some pieces that can emerge for the Marlins, but there's still many pieces away from truly contending. This is the Phillies series to lose. They have the starting pitching with Aaron Nola and company, with Zach Wheeler as well. I didn't predict them to win their series last year. Colin did from Into the Stands. But I'm going to go with the Phillies automatic sweep over the Marlins. Now this series, Brewers D-backs. Now the Diamondbacks, what a story they are. People in the beginning of the year thought they would finish 4th in the NL West, in a division loaded with the Dodgers and Padres. And they overcame a lot this season, led by star rookie Corbin Carroll. He is going to win National League Rookie of the Year. No one will dispute that. I don't think so, at least. They're going up against a Brewers team with a great starting pitching and a lot of great talent. Who do I think wins this series? I want to pick the Diamondbacks. I really want to pick the Diamondbacks. That high-flying young team, the team that's going to upset and cause chaos this year. Kind of like the Phillies from last year. They don't have the pitching to do it. I'm going Milwaukee. Listen, the American League is going to be more interesting, because I think it's going to go to 3 games, but I do think the Brewers beat the Diamondbacks. Hate to see it, but the D-backs are going to be a fun team. If they can get more pitching, I think they will be a problem long term. To the divisional series, ALDS, they do have sponsors. I'm not going to read the sponsors, though. We have Baltimore against Texas and Toronto against Houston. Baltimore is a weird one because, I don't think they have the pitching to go out and win you a playoff series. Neither does Texas. Texas's bullpen's not very good. But do they have the depth, the offense, to go out and make plays? Possibly. I want Baltimore. I didn't want to pick Baltimore. Originally, when I did this, I didn't pick Baltimore. But really thinking about it now, Scherzer being, I believe, injured, DeGrom is not playing in this. Next year, if you talk to me about the series next season, Texas would win this. I think Baltimore wins. I'm going to say in 4 games, Baltimore wins. Houston, Toronto. Houston's going to sweep the Blue Jays. It's going to be 1-2 for me there. Listen, Houston has a lot of talent. I don't think Toronto's going to be able to stand with the Blue Jays. Toronto's not going to be able to stand with the Astros. Listen, the Astros are still a talented team. And if there was... Listen, I think if the Astros are still a little bit unproven, but I still think they're going to be able to make a lot of plays, though, in the playoffs. That's for sure. Bottom of the bracket. Braves, Phillies, and Brewers, Dodgers. Now, I want to pick the Phillies, but I don't have the audacity to do it. The Atlanta Braves are so good. And let me just say this right now. Whoever those broadcasters were who went after Ronald, like the Braves are showing that video for Ronald Acuna, why are you mad about that? I don't get it. He did something that no one has ever done. He deserved it. He stole 70 bases and hit 40 home runs. I've never seen it before. They've never seen it before because it's never happened before. Why are they hating? I don't get it. Ronald Acuna is going to go absolutely nuts. Just say he's going to annihilate them, and he's going to go nuts in the same sentence. I don't know why I try to make it into one word, but listen, the Braves are so good. They're going to have the offense to carry them. Their pitching may be trash, but the Braves are going to win this. And then Brewers, Dodgers, listen, there has to be that one sleeper team that I think can go all the way. Has to be. And, the NL Central was a dogfight to the end. You had the Cubs, the Reds, they were both trying to make it to the wild card. They both failed. And, of course, you had the Brewers. Now, while I search up something real quick, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm just making sure if the Dodgers don't have any bad injuries. Because this is going to change my pick a lot. I mean, when you look at the Dodgers, what they've been able to do post-trade deadline is absolutely ridiculous. And how they've been able to help a lot of these players who were struggling in the beginning of the year. You talk about your Lance Lynns and some of these other players. They were really able to help out their squad. And listen, they're 7th in average. They hit the 2nd most home runs. They didn't steal a lot of bases, but I think they're still a very solid team. You saw Clayton Kershaw pitch very well. He had team-leading 13 wins this season. I mean, they're a solid bunch, and I think they're going to cause a lot of problems. And you see an emergence from Bobby Miller, the young right-handed starting pitcher, the flame-throwing starting pitcher. I think he's very solid. They have Julio Urias, Gonsolin. I mean, if they could stay healthy, the Dodgers win the World Series for me. The Dodgers will win this series in 5 games. I know it's unoriginal for me to say 1-2 versus 1-2, but it's such favorable matchups for both 1-2s that I'm just going to go with the 1-2, 1-2 matchups. So we'll head to the championship series. Let me just get this out the way. The Astros are winning this. The Astros are going to win in 6 games. Listen, Baltimore's unproven. They have pieces that they still need. Their starting pitching will lose them this series. If Baltimore wants to prove itself legit, they need to, 1, beat Texas, which I think is going to be a big problem. but they also need to beat the Astros. The Astros are too experienced to not make it out of this round. They're going to be your American League pennant champions. They're going to win the pennant. I hate to say it, but they're going to win the pennant. Short and sweet. National League. I know I'm going to be boring, but the Braves win the National League. It's boring, it's unoriginal, but listen, when you have two top teams, the Braves' offense with the likes, it's Freddie Freeman versus his old team, and I love the narrative. But when you look at the Atlanta Braves, now I got to watch this team in person back in July. This team is ridiculous. The talent on this team is ridiculous. And whoever their GM is a menace to society. And the reason why I say that, you may take that as a bad thing, but no, I'm taking it as a good thing, guys. Because what that GM has been able to do is keep all those players on long-term contracts for like no money. I mean, let's look at the pitching. If I can find it. There we go. The pitching. We have Spencer Strider pitch well. Bryce Elder pitch decent. You have Max Fried go with a 2.5 ERA when he's come back from injury. You had, like I said, Spencer Strider, he over 280 strikeouts. That's outrageous. You had Charlie Morton just get under 200. You had other they don't have a lot of strikeout guys, but they've been injured a lot this season as well in the rotation. The Braves' starting pitching is going to be the reason that they make it this far. So the Atlanta Braves are my National League champions. Now for the World Series. Braves-Astros. I love this series. It's the battle of a lot of some unproven players from the Astros. This is a different team that we've seen from the Astros past. Let's look at their roster. Because, listen, the Houston Astros are, to me, have played this so right. You have Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, Bregman. Like, that alone is ridiculous. You add in the starting pitching of Framber Valdez. Christian Javier has had a bad season, but I think he can bounce back. Just to name off their pitchers. Hunter Brown, I think, is going, in his rookie season, I think this is his rookie season. A 5 ERA nowadays MLB is not the worst thing in the world. Can it be better? Yes, but I think he'll be one of those guys that could emerge in the playoffs, kind of like Jeremy Pena was the last time Houston was here. They have Justin Verlander back. They have some of these other Jose Urquidy. They have some decent players here, guys. And look at games started. Javier, Valdez, Brown, France, Verlander, Urquidy. They still have even if some of them are injured, I probably have named injured players here, but listen, they have the rotation to try and go out and do this. But I'm going to say no. Your World Series champions are the Atlanta Braves. And I hate to say it. It will be the Atlanta Braves. I hate it. I hate all of this. But with the way the Braves play, this is the start of a new dynasty to me. Your World Series champions are the start of something new. The Atlanta Braves. I hate it. As a Mets fan, but you gotta be unbiased with this stuff. Braves win in 6. World Series MVP, I'm gonna go with Matt Olson as my World Series MVP. That's my prediction. And that is how I think the World Series, the playoffs, are gonna go this season. Now to your other sporting topics, starting with the Premier League, because there's so much frustration that I got from watching the Prem this weekend. I'm going to quickly just give you some scores and results. Arsenal won, unsurprising. Brighton lost 6-1. No comment on that. Luton Town got their first ever win in the Premier League. They beat Everton 2-1. Palace beat Man United. Newcastle got back on track as they beat Burnley 2-0. West Ham beat Sheffield United. And then City just losing to Wolves. Feels great. 2-1. And then you have the match that's going to be, it's the talk of the town, it feels like. Liverpool, Tottenham. Now, what are my thoughts on this? It's damn simple. Liverpool was robbed. I'm not saying this from an Arsenal's fan perspective. I'm not saying this from a biased perspective here. Just for reference, everything I say on this show is from I try to do it from an unbiased perspective. This is no exception. What do I think about some of these calls? To start with, first of all, Luis Diaz's goal, we all know that should have stood. I'm not commenting on that. I mean, we all know that's a goal. I mean, if you need to draw those, line things, we all know that's a goal. You have to be blind or stupid to not see that as a goal. So, I made a little chant for you guys, as a joke. And I sent it to my friend last night. It was a Samina na waka waka So it's a chant that Arsenal does for Kai Havertz, but I think it works here. So it says hundreds of millions down the drain, VAR sold again, because usually it's 60 million down the drain, Kai Havertz scores again. So I thought hundreds of millions for how much they put into VAR, and then it says hundreds of millions down the drain, VAR sold again. Because Curtis Jones, okay, that's a red. Yeah, you can argue he slips over the ball. It's still a late challenge into his upper, medium upper leg-ish. It's a red. You can't dispute that. The Jota red, I can't defend that. You can argue it's stopping a run, but VAR would have overturned that, I think. I think VAR would have overturned that red. The own goal was just the icing on the cake, because it was inevitable that Liverpool scored it. Tottenham scored. And it was off a Liverpool own goal. Just a fitting way for that match to end. Frustrations galore. Liverpool lose 2-1. And now looking at the Premier League table, we have City still in first, but Tottenham's in second. Followed by Arsenal, who are in a deserving third. As an Arsenal fan, from an unbiased perspective, I think Arsenal deserve to be in third. Then you have Liverpool. Then you have Aston Villa, and then Brighton, followed by West Ham, Newcastle United, Palace. Man United is barely a top half club. They are this year's Chelsea from the looks of it. Then you have Nottingham Forest, who got a decent looking draw against Brentford. You have Fulham. Then you have the aforementioned Brentford. Wolves. Chelsea in 15th, lads. Jeez. Then you have Everton. And then Luton, just getting out of the bottom three. They get an applause for that. I didn't think it would happen this early. And then you have Bournemouth, Burnley, and Sheffield United. Now, someone out of those bottom four will get points. Because tomorrow, Burnley plays Luton in a match no one's going to watch, other than if you're a fan of those clubs. Because there's so much Champions League football that you have to watch that. I previewed the Champions League in the last episode. So make sure to go check out that episode, see what my thoughts are. And make sure to check out the Robbie Basel Show Instagram post showing my predictions of the Champions League group stage. I'm interested to see how accurate I am this week, because I went 10-16 week 1. Interested to see how I go week 2. But yeah, we all know, back to Liverpool real quick, we all know the mistakes by VAR made. And then I sent something out, and some people may think it's harsh, but it was kind of funny. It says those two refs from VAR are going to get have been replaced in upcoming fixtures due to significant human error. My response was, real shame there, wonder why. I mean, it's no words. No words to the officiating on that. But, sorry about that, if you heard that in the mic. But, yeah, we'll go to the, before I go to the NFL, we'll go to the Ryder Cup. Europe won, so just to make this clear, my 3 correct predictions this year on Into the Stands for Champions, or Into the Stands in here, were the Nuggets, Victor Hovland to win the FedEx Cup, and Europe winning the Ryder Cup. That is sad. Granted, I haven't had a lot to predict yet. So we'll see, but not the greatest run for me, but I've been close a lot. I've been like that close. I mean, I had almost Madison Keys winning the US Open. We had Wimbledon, I think I did pretty decent. I'm trying to remember. I think I got pretty close there. I was almost right on the Open, I think. I was close on a lot of stuff. The fact of the matter is, yeah, it's close but not close enough to get it fully accurate. Europe won, they deserved it. The celebrations they've had are amazing, and I can watch those videos all day long. That's all I'm commenting on that. Ryder Cup winners, Europe. To the NFL, and there is so much to talk about. Because Into the Stands would have gone to this very deep. I'm just going to go into it now. Starting with the 1 o'clock. Actually, we'll talk about this. I'm going to give Disney some credit here. The Toy Story game looked really cool. I watched the first quarter on a stream. It looked really cool. I mean, granted, Bijan Robinson juked out a dude animated. It looked sick. Desmond Ridder, though, was not sick. And it was either for 191 yards, which is barely less than Zach Wilson. And his teammates gave him the Zach Wilson treatment by being frustrated on the sidelines. Trevor Lawrence didn't look great again, but they won 23-7. Other games to talk about from the early session of games. We had the Bengals just lose to the Titans. I don't know anymore what to say about them. The Ravens beat the the Deshaun Watsonless Browns. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I don't know what to think about him. Playing real defenses may not be his thing. We'll see in the long term. Still young, though. The Vikings beat the Panthers in a game that was a must-win for the Vikings. And the Rams just choked it against Indianapolis and then anti-choked it by beating the Colts 29-23 in overtime. That was pathetic. Don't do that again. And we also had the Bills just run over the Dolphins. The Bucks beat the Saints, who scored 9 points. You had the Broncos get a nice come-from-behind win over the Bears, a Bears team that looks absolutely in shambles. The Broncos get the Jets next, which I was hoping the Broncos lost, because I needed some hope and some form of momentum to think that the Jets are going to get a guaranteed win. Because there's not going to be a guaranteed win all season. And then you have the Eagles. What the hell was that game? I gotta give some props to Washington because they scored with the last second play. Sam Howell he emerged. He shined in the spotlight a little bit and got Washington to a tie game with the Philadelphia Eagles at 31-all. The Eagles won on a field goal, but Washington could be a dark horse team that I think could possibly make the playoffs now. Sam Howell threw for 290 yards. They need to improve their run game, though. Brian Robinson only getting 45 rushing yards is terrible. But they're in the game with the Eagles. They'll take that. And finally, from the early session, we had the Steelers get annihilated by C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's emerging. It's the first number 2 pick I've seen in a long time actually emerge and do something. Good for him. I respect that. In the 4 o'clock session, the Chargers beat the Aiden O'Connell-led Raiders, which sucked because I wanted Aiden O'Connell to win. But he threw a pick on the 2-yard line. I don't know why you don't run the ball with Josh Jacobs there. That's just a bad play call. The Niners beat the Cardinals, no shock. And the Cowboys beat the Patriots by 35. Wow? And they ran the ball poor, which is something New England knows how to defend well, is the run. But 38? I don't know, guys. There was no one that really went that crazy. I mean, their leading receiver is a freaking tight end. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows today. What I also don't know about was the Jets game last night. And that will be the conclusion before I talk about Giants Seahawks. Chiefs Jets. I did not feel like the Jets were going to be in this game after that first quarter. I think everyone agreed with that. Heck, I didn't even think the Jets were going to be in this game at all. But it's still painful, that loss last night. Zach Wilson, other than one play, was ridiculous. It's the best game I've ever seen from him, I think. He played a complete game, other than one play. He's also the first quarterback to outplay Pat Mahomes, statistically. I'll say it now, the man's a different breed in very rare, it feels like occasions at this point. The situation, Zach Wilson, 20 of 39 for 245 and 2 touchdowns. That's my quarterback. The first time he's actually looked good against a real team. Like, I'm dead serious here. Like, listen, he played Buffalo and looked okay, but, like, the defense carried him against Buffalo. If we really think about it. He carried and got his team back in the game in this one. The officiating was horrendous. Sauce Gardner's play. Bang, bang play. I don't know how you can call that a hold. And he, like, hesitated, was doing, like, this thing. Like, what is that? Throw the flag if you know it's on a penalty. If that was an incompletion, that's not a penalty. They threw it because it was a pick. Was it a hold? Kinda. But not really. And then they missed, like, holes on the offensive line. Like, it was like, ugh. It's still frustrating. When you look back at the tape, you knew the Jets got robbed. Zach Wilson fumble. What the hell was that? I don't know. Jet defense. Almost lost the team the game. Never thought I'd say that. Jets defense did not look very good in the first quarter. It looked better. Forced turnovers. Every turnover they've played has been against a quarterback that can be seen in the top 5. It's Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. How? No idea. Allen Lazard had 3 catches for 61 yards. Garrett Wilson went 9 for 60. The Jet offense looked so much better. And everyone could say that Zach Wilson got lucky. Zach Wilson's maturing. He lived up and said the loss was on him when he played his best game of his career. I want to see that going forward. Because people said if he didn't throw over like 300 yards and win this game, he was going to get sacked. With how much this team's defending him now and how much heart he's showing from that game, I don't think that's going to happen. Just a wait and see. Hell of a fight, though. They get the Broncos next. I'm hoping if they lose, their season's over. Now, final topic. Monday Night Football. Seahawks and the Giants. The Seahawks have won back-to-back games after dropping their season opener. They went out and beat the Lions, which, round of applause. That's still a hell of a win. And then they went out and beat the Panthers last week. So they play a Giants team that just came off playing the 49ers. And they probably will not have Andrew Thomas and Saquon Barkley. My prediction for tonight, Seahawks win 27-10. Kenneth Walker is going to have a big day on the ground. Over 100 yards for Kenneth Walker. And I'm going to see a possible JSN touchdown. I want to see it. I love JSN. I want to see him catch a touchdown, damn it. I want to see it happen. And with that, I'm going to say that is all for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 40 of the Robbie Basel Show. If you like what you see, leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hopefully, when we get more subscribers, I'll try to do more stuff with the subscribers, but we'll see. I need to get a little bit bigger first before I can do anything like that. If you want to see the last episode, it's in the description of this video. If you want to see the last Into the Stands episode, which is the other podcast I'm on, it'll also be in the description, along with the Instagrams to go follow myself and both of the shows. With that, I'm saying I'm Robbie Basel. So long for now. I'll see you guys on Friday. See you later, everyone.